we could stick the diaphragm on there or not, but because we're working on the actual needle section, we're just going to hold fire with that a sec. So let me get a little bit of sealer. Here's a needle. Again, with these needles, I'm not going to do anything with that. It's clean. I can just a little groove in there. Just give that a little scrape so it's any debris in the side of it there. Again, very gently, because you are talking the real gubbins of this carburetors. Kind of the be all and end all really, the needles, the main needles in there. Now there's no dirt on it. You could polish that with a bit of brass cleaning, Brasso or whatever, you know. Not sure it's really needed. What is needed is great care. Now this thing here obviously slides into that. Remember, we're taking it out, and it is located with this tiny screw which locates inside that groove, which is, I can see it there, it slides up and down. The reason that has to be there is later on when you see the adjustment of these carburetors, which is done through the top of here via a special tool, which I think I'm going to try and make one, that raises and lowers in the body to verify the idle mixture. Yes, it's the idling mixture, yeah, because it's obviously done in the down position, and the height of it has got there. So, you know, what I'm saying is when we tighten this up inside there, what we've got to make sure we don't do is try it so tight this thing's struggling to move. You know, this is here to locate it, you know, so it's going to screw into the side of the body there of this, and what you could describe as just up to there, not tightening onto it, just up to there, so it locates it in the groove and it allows it just that movement of up and down without going mad, if you know what I mean. So it's got to be in, but it's not got to be tight, and this is why I'm going to apply just a little bit of seal. This is not this lock and seal. Basically, it doesn't lock something in solid, but it basically stops it from rattling loose, if you like. So I'm going to put a tiny amount of that on and screw it into the body, and then we're going to put this needle in there, and I want to feel it move, not easily, but not over tight. And we don't want to get it wrong in the adjustment stage. You know, we don't want to get the carburetors all fitted on and we're ready to do all the carburetor adjustments and we can't move the damn needle because you've got this thing so tight. And I think over tightening it as well, I think you're very, very likely to damage it. You know, it's only a tiny, you know, a tiny groove there for your screwdriver to fit in. And I think if you were to gain a bit beefy with that, you're going to end up regretting it because it'll just break it. And this adjustment caps at the back here, which go down into there, obviously down the centre, they screw into the back of this needle. And this is obviously this has a shoulder, so it can only go down so far, rests on the shoulder and screws into the base of that needle. So it relies on the ability to this thing to move up and down, and there's only a very small amount of movements, maybe a turn and a half, you know, maybe two maximum, to give that fine adjustment to the idling mixture. So, you know, it's again it's an adjustment, but it's not going to break nothing there, is it, like, you know? So that's how I'm going to do it. If anybody thinks that's incorrect, I'll be pleased to hear from them. Again, as to why they think it should be tighter or looser, as the case may be. I needed to finish the carburetor. Right, now, so I'm going to drop that down there, gently on its seal, and the Allen key, simple Allen key, goes in there. It is an Allen key drive in there, by the way. It's not a screwdriver. When you come to adjust it, it's done with a long well, it is a special tool, but I think if you're looking at it, you have a lathe, you can probably make one. If you can't, then you can buy one. I think I know you can buy them from Zenith. You can see that tightening up and loosening off, which is what we want. As you can see where that's going down very slowly as I tighten it up. There you go. So it's pulled it in. And then it's coming out again. You can kind of see the shoulder there. Little needle. See, that's got a little shoulder sticking out. That's the bottom of that jet. Hopefully you can see it disappear as we tighten it. See, it's now disappeared. You see there, it's gone lower. You know, so proving it kind of that is the adjuster, and that's fundamentally what it's doing. It's raising line, because that's obviously when it's in correct position is the right way around. Let's now attach the diaphragm. On new diaphragm. Little locating there, that's quite easy to anybody to see, but that little lug there matches up to the top of that. So when you're putting it in, just make sure it nicely fits in there. Sits in. On with the cap. And in with the screws. And there we go. In she goes. Locate it down in the main jet there. Sorry, your top lug. Sorry, should have. You have another one of those lugs on the outer side. And when you put that in there, you see the top of the carburetor, you have another one there. Make sure you get them in, because it just won't seal properly, will it? I mean, I think you don't really need to tell anybody that, because it's quite blatantly obvious when you look at it what kind of happens. And we can, there's my top. And then fundamentally what we've got there, I've got this marked. We've got the new set of screws to go into that. And bob them in. I'm going to, you know, that's fundamentally no, not quite the end of that video, because we've got two spring washers to put in the top of there, and I think they just push down, but I want to just make a little bit of a tool. I think probably as best as well showing that, isn't it, really? Now these little spring washers locate the you know, what we adjusted this thing, and then what screwed into the needle and located the adjuster piece that holds that in there. So you have like a little spring washer, and if you see that's dished, well, when it goes in you have to put it so the dishings face upwards. So it'll slide down and it actually locks that brass adjustment screw in place. But what I was kind of doing is I was going to make something that's just fits inside there nicely, so when I push it down it just pushes it right down nice and even, and I haven't actually got anything, so but I thought it's probably best I mention that. Once I've got something, all I'll do is locate it in there and just push it straight down, all the way down to the bottom where the screw is, and that'll be in its correct position. But otherwise that's fundamentally it. Or is it? No, it isn't, Jeff. Just remember we've got this little piece here, this cap. I'll put one of these screws in here so nothing starts to fall out on me. I want to polish these tops as well, all this, so little O-ring we've got at the bottom of this cap here, which will be absolutely rock solid. There you go. See, these when these O-rings get so tired like those are, You know, you can see how that's come out, just breaks. Well, as soon as you try and open them up, you can see where they all crack. Well, that's breaking obviously, but you can see where they all crack on there. They're actually doing nothing, they're sealing nothing. So all you're going to clean that up, and say it's nothing really, is it that? We'll get the seal out of there, roll the seal over the top, I mean all this does is, I say, blank this hole off. On the older type carburetors, not these ES versions, the jet is not adjusted from the top, it's adjusted from the bottom here, and that's where the adjuster came out. At the bottom of this, obviously this is a fixed jet, so you know the adjustment's done at the other end. So what we get on here is excuse me, is basically a blanking plug, isn't it, which needs to go in. Now this does definitely have some silicone grease on it, and I don't mind if I put a little plenty on there, because it's something that needs to go in there nice and freely and not get rolled over, as they call it. Rolling over means it kinks the seal around and twists it, then they don't always seal, and that can happen if you're just feeling a little bit rough. You decide to stick it in, push that into there, push it all the way home neatly, and that's going to seal any fuel from coming out. And all I can say is if you ever get a fuel leak from there, from that O-ring seal, don't do what I found on the other carburetor I did before I did this one. Somebody had wrapped tape round it and all kinds of things, PTFE tape, to try and make it seal. Well, it's a simple O-ring, you know what I mean? It's not something that you need to, you know, stress out about. Just locate yourself an O-ring. Stromburg sell them, so you can get one from there. But I will say the consequences of cobbling that up and allowing fuel to leak on from there, what you will find is that's located on the engine, so fuel leaks on there, it drips straight onto the exhaust pipe, which is going to end up with a little bit of a fire, aren't we? Potentially the whole thing will be gutted. So small O-rings, needs cleaning, don't mess around with it. Put a seal on it, make sure it doesn't leak. It can have catastrophic consequences, but that's fundamentally that. There's only the dashpot to go down. So for some reason in the kit you get a new spring clip. Shall I do it while I'm here? Flick that off. Take that off, and you have like a little washer. It's got a little chamfer on the inside of it, and they give you one of them new in the kit, so take that one off if you like, put your new one on, put your barrel back on, and the little circlip that they provide you as well. All that does is clip back in, clip over there, make sure it don't fall off. Fibre washer at the top, so I'm going to call that carburetor rebuilt. Not yet adjusted. You know, you've got all the adjustment for all the levers etc to go, and I'm going to do that when it's all on the vehicle, because I think it'd be easier, because you've got twin carburetors on this, so you need to match up the butterfly openings on here. So there's like a number of settings to do, and I'm just going to do it all in one rather than faff about doing little bits of pieces here. A bit of summary on what I found to be a bit of a pain, and as you strip it down, you can watch this video I think to get an idea of what what to do kind of thing. When you strip it down, take a few photographs of where things are, how things are located, how things are orientated. As reminders, you can always put them out, you leave them on your camera, leave them on your phone and something, just go through them, just as a guideline. Things like these screws, when you're removing them, sometimes if they're a bit tight, just a nice little tap with a very, very small hammer can sometimes break the seal. I generally do that, I use a hammer and a punch. Quick sharp black on there, very often breaks a seal on there, so you don't damage all your screws. Okay, you get new ones on these the carburetor kit from Zenith. Cleanliness, you know, obviously everything's got to be spotless. Of course, I've got a blasting cabinet there, so I'll blast my carbs to get them all clean. But you know, blasting with sand means a good hour of cleaning it all out. You know what I mean? I'm prepared to do that, you know, because I think the carburetor will look a lot better when it's finished. Remember when we set in the float heights? It's an accurate setting. Come up with your own way of achieving 16 to 17 mil. There's a number of ways of doing it. Even if you just use a 17 mil block resting on the body and a little straight edge, a light straight edge across top of the floats. You know, the floats themselves. You know, that'll give you a measurement to get it right. What else are we doing? Oh, also don't forget the height of the main jet when you're pressing it in. You know, I used a couple of, you know, when I took the old jets out, I used them to tap it down a little bit, because remember on the video I knocked it in further than what I needed to, just so I could kind of show you how I can adjust it back again. We brought it back down to a depth. We measured the depth to the inside of the, not the top ring on the jet, but like the inside of it, if you like, exactly where the hole is. Now there, after the top of the body it's set at Stromburg. I spoke to Stromburg about it. I pre-measured it, and that's what I came out with, about 100 thou. But I thought, is that correct? So I gave their technical a quick ring, and they said, yeah, that's what we set them at as a standard setting. Again, fractional. You know, if it's 100 thou, if it's 101 or 99 thou, it's about thereabouts. I wouldn't beef up, but you know, I kind of used a little jet because that's made out of brass. It's soft. You've got to tap it down a little bit. You're not going to damage your new jet. That was something that's important. I'm just thinking also, because I've got this in my hand, when we put these seals in at the top here for the butterflies, very, very fragile brass seal carrier, really, because the actual seal fits inside it. I again use this way around with a little washer on it, so when I'm tapping it in, the washer's hitting the outside ring, the shoulder, so I'm getting a good firm contact with that. And you tap it. What you really should do is try and get that in as far as you can with your fingers. Try and start it with your fingers, and then gently tap it down. Hold it steady in a vice or something like that, and just gently tap, because if you distort it, you're going to have to straighten it. If you've not damaged it too much, if you've damaged it too much, you're going to have to get a new one, because they are very, very fragile. As I say, when I put the second one in, I just nicked it on the way in. Lucky, I kind of felt it, noted it, took it out, carefully lined it all up again, and I managed to get it back in pretty easy, because I only just nicked it, and I got away with it because I only just. If it had gone one more hit with the hammer further, it'd have been wrecked. So call that luck. Really, I kind of felt it, but it was lucky I didn't hit it one more time. So, you know, I've got all these old tools here. All they are is pieces of brass I've removed from the old carburetors, and I've used them as tools to rebuild my now refurbished carburetor. And again, gently speaking, is, you know, the important fact is this is a precision instrument, you know, or a precision piece of equipment. If it's thrown together badly, it won't perform very well. So, you know, make sure it's clean. Make sure you're careful how you set things. Make sure, you know, things are nice and free, and take your photographs and things like that. And I think, you know, it's not beyond the realms of anybody to really rebuild one of these carburetors with the basic equipment. Oh dear. Right, just to leave an end to this carburetor scenario, or let's put it the rebuild of it, and just the refit, not the adjusting and setting up of it all. But just wanted to show you what we've done. We've done a little bit of polishing, like I said, on it. So I thought I'd sort of show the polishing and the bit, you know, the final stuck back on there, and I'll just get the camera just a little bit, and we can kind of see what we've done. The camera on there. So I got my last dash popped. As you can see, they're a bit polished. I'd like to see them a bit higher polished than that, but I can't really get them much more illuminated. And pull that out, and then make sure we line that up again. just drop the fibre washer down the middle there, so that's all we've done there. So fundamentally, back in with the springs, what we did on the pair of them there. And I'm setting these dash pots here, so when you look, well, the bolt holes seem to line up certainly better there than what they did on there. And that's with the Stromburg reading, you know, that way rather than that way. I'll have to look at the, check on the other one, see what we can find there, because that's quite interesting. I wanted them to face this way, and it may not make any difference. I know there's a mark on there, which may be an indication mark or something like that, you know, but it's certainly, but fundamentally, that's the car's back on. I'm going to see if I can get them a little bit more shiny, just for the hell of it, really, you know. A little bit of an addition here up for reference, referring that the servo that we fitted. One of the comments from one of our subscribers, Ulrich, over there in Germany, said he wasn't quite sure where I was going to put it. Well, Ulrich, this is where it's going, and this is actually, this bracket here I'm pointing to now is the correct mounting bracket, which mounts onto the bulkhead. And the bulkhead holes were drilled, pre-drilled, and there's a supporting bracket at the back of there. I kind of hope I can kind of see it there. You know, it's that section. My finger is there. It's like I say, it's not an easy thing to kind of see, but that is a standard fitting to the later model GT6, the Mark III, which this wasn't a later model. It was an earlier model. But as you can see, it is a close fit to the engine there. You've got about 5mm clearance from the rear of the rocker covers, etc., and the rear of the cylinder head. But you know, it fits in nice and neat, nice and tidy. The only thing I will suggest anybody puts these on is this top water pipe here from the water matrix. As you can see, it kind of disappears down into the sort of the bowels of there. You've got to put that on first, because you'll never get it on unless you do. It'll just leave you stuck. So you know, it is what it is. It is a standard fitting. If Ulrich wants to see that or comment again a bit further on it, you know, all these brackets are factory made. You know, they have a little hole there for the vacuum pipe to come out, the 3 mounting pins. It's not a homemade bracket, it's a factory bracket. So if that answers a little question there, Ulrich, then I hope it's been of an assistance to you. And I say, it is a genuine job. You know, it's not just to throw together, somebody's come up with. Okay, Ulrich, and anybody else who just want to take notice of that, it is a factory fitted option, and you just have to get the parts you need, which is going to be the servo on there is not unique. It's a Girling servo. They have code numbers which are, well, I don't know, there's about 3 or 4 different kinds. I think it generally relates to the piston size in it. That's not 100% sure about that, but I kind of think that's what it relates to. The parts were available on the service kit, and what we said on the when we did the overhaul of the servo. The only thing that we couldn't locate was a diaphragm, and I was lucky the diaphragm was fine in this one, so the full service kit was there. But they also fit these, I know for a fact, to Ford. I think some Ford Escorts had them fitted, and a number of other cars. They were not unique to GT6. It is just a Girling remote servo, and you know, there will be brackets. You know, that it's an easy, simple bracket to make, really, but they are, you know, they are out there. If you wanted, if Ulrich, especially if he wanted, he did say he'd like to fit one. Now, if you want to fit one, Ulrich, then you know the parts will take a bit of sourcing, but they are out there, and it is made to fit in that location. So, you know, perhaps if you can locate some parts out there, I know they certainly do parts on eBay, etc. I've seen them a number of times. Well, perhaps you might be able to pick one up and improve the brakes on the GT6. You're doing the Split 6 project, aren't you? Which 6-cylinder, more power, better brakes. You know, if you know what I'm saying, kind of follows on, doesn't it? Like, you know, so Okay, that's that bit, Ulrich. Hope that answers any questions, or Ulrich, anyone else that wasn't quite sure about or hadn't seen them before. It is a proper factory option. See you then. See you guys.